here's the dilemma that I see with regards to conservatives, especially on the populist front. And so Trump was very good at speaking to disaffected working class Americans. And certainly the Democrats abandoned them completely in the Clinton campaign, and had been preparing to do that for years, like the idiot champagne socialists have at the universities. But in any case, Trump was pretty good at talking to working class Americans. But here's the danger, as far as I'm concerned, on the classically conservative front. And I don't really know what to do about this. It's like the radical leftists have this fundamental proposition, which is all institutions are corrupt and predicated on dominance and power. And so that's kind of their leitmotif. But now you have people like Trump who come in as outsiders and say, on the populist front, hey, everyone on the right, on the conservative side, the working class side, let's say now, all your institutions are corrupt and basically predicated on, dominance and power. And I think, well, this is a big problem, because the conservatives are objecting to the corruption of the institutions in the manner that you just described. They're captured by the woke ideology. But the underlying message to people is kind of the same, which is our fundamental institutions can no longer be trusted. And the problem with beating that drum on the conservative side, as far as I can tell, is that you add fuel to the fire on the left side. And so then you're in the position, and we can talk about the role of the humanities and education there, you're in the position of asking yourself, well, if you are a conservative and you're traditionally based, but you believe that the institutions have been corrupt, how the hell can you plot a pathway forward without falling prey to exaggeration of exactly the concerns that the radical leftists are putting forward? Because they say the same thing. The institutions can't be trusted. It's like the spirit of the institutions can be trusted.
I would maybe differ just in two regards. One is, I think they used to say the institutions can't be trusted, but it was the left that egged on the Russian collusion hoax, the laptop hoax, the Ping and the Alpha Bank hoax. And it was the left who said that James Clapper, who lied under oath once, and John Brennan, who lied under oath twice, and James Comey, who feigned amnesia 245 times under oath, and Andrew McCabe, who lied 4 times under oath, and Anthony Fauci, whose latest interrogatory was just a mishmash of I can't remember, I don't recall. So, and they are all iconic in the left. So the left has basically said, these institutions got so unwieldy, and 2 million people working for the federal government, and the regulators who were not elected alone had the expertise of this huge Byzantine complex, because elected officials come and go, but the EPA guy is always there, and he knows every judge, jury, executioner, legislative, judicial, executive power, all in one person mode of operating. That the conservatives said, we've got to break this up. We've got to take the FBI office and put it in Kansas City. We've got to cut 10% of the workforce. We've got to make sure that HHS, it shouldn't even be in Washington. We've got to get rid of the Department of Energy. I remember Mr. Perry, the Texas governor, said, I'm going to get rid of 3 agencies. Unfortunately, he couldn't remember which ones they were on the debate stage. But that's what conservatives were doing. But the left is saying, well, just as you have lost confidence because they're over-regulatory and they're intrusive and they are anti-constitutional and they go after the individual, we find them now for the first time quite attractive, because in our Davos agenda or our Great Reset agenda, whether it's mandating green energy or mandating equity, we find these institutions suddenly, for the first time in our lives, very, very attractive. And so they've inherited them and adopted them now. And it's uncanny to watch.
All right, so it is uncanny to watch. I mean, one of the most miraculous things I've seen in my lifetime is the insistence by people on the left side of the spectrum that pharmaceutical companies can be trusted. So that's just like, everything is absolutely upside down when that happens. Okay, but you're pulling out something that's very paradoxical, because on the one hand, we've already established the case that this fundamental critique that's emerged from the universities is a critique of institutional reliability. And the basic doctrine is one of power, is that all institutions are predicated on the expression of arbitrary power, and they can't be trusted, especially if you're not in the power elite. But then you say there's a paradoxical side of that, which is that at the same time, the same people, at least with regards to their political and philosophical orientation, are increasingly willing to utilize large-scale social institutions to put forward a given agenda. I suppose maybe the difference there is that the left is perfectly willing to trust large-scale institutions if the institutions operate under the rubric of their ideological theory.
So everything that makes these institutions skeptical or suspicious to the traditional supporters, that they've taken away the power of the individual, they are commissar-like, they're ideologically weaponized by the left. All of those things make it attractive to the left. So it's one of the strangest things, I think, in the history of the country, how the right has backed away from all of these investigatory agencies, military. They don't trust them anymore because they've been, I guess their DNA has been recalibrated against the individual in traditional America. And the left comes in and says, we like what they're doing. We like their overreach of civil liberties because that's the only way that we can affect these changes that 51% of the people don't want, and because they're stupid. But when you control Silicon Valley and K through 12 and Hollywood, now the military and the FBI and the CIA and the DOJ, now we can finally enact change without public support. And so I don't know where it's all going to end, but the conservatives have backed off, and in that vacuum, the left has moved in.